Hello, folks. Good evening. How are you today? You're welcome to another edition of Just Banter. My name is Habib Enyola. Hope you guys have had a fantastic week ahead so far. A lot of drama, a lot of hilarious scenarios, National Assembly, off your mic, so many things. I can't even begin to tell you, about the drama because I'm sure you probably know more than I do, which is, because you guys probably are following it judiciously. I know that a lot of people are focused on Big Brother Nigeria, and they'll be comparing the ratings and all the jokes around all the issues with Big Brother Nigeria because that's how Nigerians are. We take very few things very seriously, and these things affect lives. So many people had to leave the country, despite the fact that there's so much promise in the land, so many brilliant people, so many, diverse cultures, things that people look for that could drive forward their economy, their societies. Everything is in abundance in Nigeria. But for some strange reason in Nigeria, we just don't tap into these things. We keep, jostling for ethnic and religious supremacy. We are not looking at ourselves and saying, okay, what is it that we have that we can, really ride on and be able to move forward and move to the next stage? We keep fighting. Why? Simply because you're being divided by politicians. And you keep wondering, why are you allowing yourselves to be divided by politicians? Now, at the end of the day, at the tail end, whether it is APC or PDP, you can see from all that's going on, in the news right now on all these corruption issues that there's no difference. They're all the same thing, whether we like it or not. So somebody goes to bed, tonight, he's an APC member. He wakes up tomorrow morning, he receives a text message that, he finds displeasing. And by the time he takes a shower and gets into his car and is on his way out, he has become a PDP member. If he's not happy with being in the PDP, he will move to another party. We have had quite a few politicians on here, and they've all said more or less the same thing. And the issue keeps going back to the party structures, the lack of internal democracy in those parties. And that is why we have the quality of leadership that you have coming out of Nigeria, the most populous black nation, 200 million plus people. Over 65% of that 200 million below the age of 35. And those below the age of 35 are not even heard at all. Nobody knows where they are. Nobody understands what's going on. Simply because money politics are being played, godfatherism, and a host of other issues. We have a guest on tonight, but we seem to have lost him temporarily there. So I'll bring him back on when he gets, when we have him back in the studio. So, but in the meantime, you guys can tell me, what do you think? The comment section are open. You can send in your comments and all that and tell us, what you think about all this buraha going on at the National Assembly. Senator Akpabio doing his thing. Minister Ngige doing his thing as well. The NDDC probes, 40 billion. Are we no longer in the era of stealing billions and now in the era of stealing trillions? And nobody is batting an eyelid. Everybody is laughing about it. That is, what do you think? That's crazy, isn't it? I don't know. But you could tell us. Just send in your comments and we'll be sure, to put it up there because it's always an interactive session on Just Banter. We have back our guest, and I'm going to be introducing him soon. He's an APC chieftain as well. He was also a member of the Presidential Campaign Council for President Buhari's, re-election campaign. He's from Kogi State. He is a big player when it comes to the politics of Kogi State. He's also attending a few courses, one of them at the Nigerian Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. Now, you don't get to do that except you're a major player. So he's a major player and he's taken out the time to come on board and come and have a chat with us on Just Banter. And I'm actually talking about OmoOba Tunde Ajibulu. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello, Habib. How are you? Thank you for having me
I'm
on
all
your
right.
show.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank
Oh, you're
you.
always welcome. It's our pleasure to actually have you on. We know that you're very, very busy right now, considering the fact that you're actually running a course at the Nigerian Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies.
It's actually the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies.
Oh, it's now national.
Yeah, National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's always been a big myth around that institute. You know, the type of people that are allowed to go there because you don't do an entrance exam. It's actually a case of you be nominated or something like that to attend. You know, that
Yeah.
national institute.
Yes. You're very right. You actually have to be nominated by your organization. Yeah.
Okay, so when you say your organization, is it a political organization or is
No,
it?
no, 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 no. Basically, I'm saying 95% of the participants of the senior executive course
Okay.
are nominated basically from government institutions, cutting
All
across the
right.
military, paramilitary, and then the civil service and etc. So basically, government institution, and then the private sector is organized. And then, so you have people from the Engineering Society of Nigeria. You can have people from the Nigerian Bar Association of Nigeria, and then, yeah.
Well, you're the first guest that we're having on, on Just Banter that's, been to the National Institute. We haven't had anybody. So this is a great privilege. I'm very happy, to have somebody that's attended that institute on this show.
Yeah, thank you.
Previously, it used to be a case of most of the people that you saw running, either for political office in Nigeria or who held very senior, positions in different parts of, the corporate and the civil structure in Nigeria. Actually, did go to the National Institute, but nowadays you don't see things like that anymore.
Oh, that's
But
explainable. That's explainable. I can explain that. You have to know that
okay.
our former military president, General Babangida,
Yes.
is an alumni of this prestigious institute and was
Okay.
actually the first course.
Oh, right. Okay.
Course one, yes, course one. Um, and so the institute impacted a lot of things in him. And then when he came into power, naturally, he projected members, fellow alumni, because he knows what the institute gives to you when you're here. And so
All
he
right.
needed that type of, yes. So
Oh,
that's it.
that's fantastic. So
And,
that means
and also, are you aware that General Abacha also attended this institute?
oh yes, I think I've noticed
Yeah.
that he was an MNI
Yes,
as well.
yes,
And
yes. Major General Babatunde Diab want to attended this institute. A lot of
ah,
people.
a lot of people.
Adams Oshomole attended this institute.
Your immediate former party
The past
chairman.
chairman. Yes, he attended this institute as well. Yeah.
That's fantastic. There've been a lot of talk around Adams Oshomole in recent times,
Yes.
and it seems to have been a case of it is not Adams Oshomole that was actually the problem, but it was highlighted because Adams Oshomole had, a unique character, a unique personality, on his own. This was the issue of internal democracy in the APC. Several people have come on this show. They've talked about that. Why? Maybe you can give us your own perspective as well. Why do you have such issues when it comes to internal democracy in the APC?
When you say internal democracy, first things first, everybody has their character.
Yes.
The former chairman was a unionist, was a labor unionist.
Oh yes, khaki wearing.
Exactly, and then they have a certain attitude. I have a classmate here. He's from the TUC.
Okay.
And then we tease him as well because they are feisty and very opinionated.
Is he wearing khaki as well?
Well, there's a dress code here, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
There's a dress code, unfortunately. But when he can get away with it, he does wear his khaki.
They are a feisty lot, yes, most definitely.
Yes.
They're very vocal. And
Yes.
Adams Oshomole seems to have shaken up the party quite a bit. And a lot of people have, left the party. A lot of people have said that they worked very, very hard for the ruling party to come into power, but at the end of the day, they were not recognized or they were not given their due. What happened?
Well, as a lot of people left the party, a lot of people have also come into the party. And then it's sad, but I think it cuts across most political parties in Nigeria. It is sad, yes, it exists. A lot of people work for the party and then they don't get patronage, they don't get recognition. And it's enough for you to be disillusioned, as I might say. A few weeks ago, one of my colleagues, Ismail, is on the interim national working committee representing the youth. He said a lot of things on TV, on channels, and I agree with a lot of the things Barrister Ismail said. And then it's sad, and like I said, it cuts across all political parties in Nigeria. You see, okay, you can see now that the governor of Edo State,
yes,
when it was screened out of the primary, he went to PDP, and what happened? He got the ticket.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, and then, but you see, there's been a lot of people in PDP that have been working for PDP. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, and then somebody just cross carpets, and immediately he gets, so that alone, I guarantee you, is making a lot of people unhappy within PDP. And naturally, too, it will make people unhappy in APC. For me, I have a particular case that I think I even mentioned something about it in the papers. There was a senator, Udoma, if that's what's his name? I can't remember the name now. But anyway, it was a senator from Cross River State. He contested and lost in 2015, and 3 months later he became chairman. 3 months later, he fought against PDP, fought against APC, and lost an election. And 3 to 5 months later, he becomes chairman of something very heavy, maybe the chairman for NDDC or something like that. That was totally mind-boggling to me. He fought against the party. Why you? What? Then what about the people that fought for the party? So if he had won his election, if he had won his election, so you see all these things come to play, and then honestly speaking, it's very sad, and I hope it is addressed. It's work in progress anyway. It's not as bad as it was.
Yeah.
At the beginning, you had a lot of PDP people still occupying positions. You had a lot of them. That has reduced drastically now. That's not the case anymore.
So it brings back the issue to the fore of personal interest, which is what basically it means. So each and every quote unquote party member are all in these parties for their own personal reasons, not because these parties have any ideology whatsoever. Now, just before you came on into the studio, I was just having a conversation with the viewers, and I was saying that whether they were PDP members or APC members, the same level of corruption that we have seen, which led to the protest votes and people voted out the past PDP governments, is more or less the same level of corruption that we are seeing now, if not even more.
I will seriously beg to differ on that. I will beg to differ on that, Habib, and then I'll give you my reasons, and then
all right.
And then my personal opinion, and then if anybody looks at it holistically, I believe they will know I'm talking sense. Part of why I believe a lot of noise is coming up now, and I don't blame Nigerians. What is happening? It's not nice. It's not fair. This government came on board, and the selling point was anti-corruption. That was the selling point. You understand? And then there's no group of bodies. There's no group of people. You cannot in a group of people. You can't have everybody 100%
Of course,
Kosher.
yes.
If I, if I may, if I may, if I,
Yeah.
yes, if I may use the word, a lot of things that are happening, I must confess, are actually embarrassing. But then at the same time, some of these things, there are political connotations behind these things. If you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, so
Part
can
of
you give us an example?
a lot of these things are, I believe, are also political. You
Okay,
know, some of them, some of them you can say they are like maybe sponsored. Do you understand?
but
Because of certain interests.
sponsored by the opposition or
You- I'll
bodies
just
within the party.
I'll just use sponsored by certain interests. And do not
Okay.
forget, all that is happening. We're just I'm watching the way you're watching, and then
Yes.
at the end of the day, we cannot cast aspersions on anybody until it's
Yes.
been taken to a court of law and it has been proven that this actually happened.
Yes, but you see, Nigerians actually have started, to ask questions of those courts of law. But that is not for you because you are not one a judicial officer. Two, you are not,
Yep.
you are not a practicing member of the legal profession. So
Yes.
I won't ask you questions related to that directly. But be
Okay.
that as it may, you
Okay.
also
Okay.
have
Okay. Sorry. Let me interject. Let's take the case of Magu.
yes,
Okay, he's been investigated. He's been
but
investigated. Allegations were made against him. I
okay.
just saw it on TV like 30 minutes ago that he's going to start his defense.
So what do you
Allegations
think?
were made. A panel was set up.
Yes. So what do you
Yes,
think
you
that
understand?
means, really?
No, a panel was set up. Allegations were made against him, and he's going to come up with his defense. Let's see his defense when he comes up with his defense, and then if there are any gaps, we'll see.
But you see, you have the National Assembly, for instance, and
Yes.
a lot of politicians now have, amongst themselves, they've even lost respect for the National Assembly. We've seen the way Senator Akpabio, spoke at the National Assembly. He even made some very, very wide sweeping allegations against the National Assembly, saying that,
Which is on TV today that he has recanted. We say things in the height of passion. It's no excuse.
but not at the National Assembly, because that is like being in front of a judge in a courtroom under oath. You cannot disrespect the National Assembly to that extent. Why
I
is the National
will
Assembly being disrespected like that?
I will not condone a disrespect of the National Assembly under any grounds
My
whatsoever.
point exactly.
Yes, I will not condone that, and I will not support that. But however, if you notice, when these hearings take place, sometimes as human beings, emotions sometimes take over.
Oh yes, we know that. Yeah.
Yeah, emotions, yes. And then as a human being, nobody's infallible. We're all fallible. So
Yeah.
you have a you can lose your temper. You can not all of us have a strong grip on our emotions.
Yeah.
Not all of us, yes. So I believe a lot of the things we see are when you're pushed to the wall, or you feel you're pushed to the wall, or you even feel as a member of the executive or as a minister, you may even feel you're being disrespected. And don't forget, this is Africa. This is not the civilized. We're not like, sorry, let me not use the word civilized. I would like to think we're civilized as well. But this is Africa. Our democracy is still fledgling. And as Africans, we have culture, we have tradition. And that's why, you'll see, that's why you saw like the Minister for Labor
Yes.
say, look, you can't talk to me like that. I'm older than a lot of you. It's cultural. So we still have a lot of that, and then so that triggers a lot of emotions as well.
Yeah, but you see, what I find, rather queer.
I'm not condoning it. I'm not
Yes.
condoning it. Don't get yes.
Okay. So what I find really curious about it, not even queer. What I find really curious about it is this: if you are coming into political office, what it basically means is that you are making yourself available to scrutiny by the people because you are meant to be serving the people, and it is not the other
People,
way.
yes, yes, yes.
So the issue of age, first things first, should not even come into play, especially when it comes from the likes of Chris Ngige. Let me put it like that. If we want to look at it from the culture, if we want to look at it from the cultural aspect of things, why did I say that? Because he is from the eastern part of Nigeria. The eastern part of Nigeria are the most egalitarian of all the cultures in Nigeria. They call an assembly where people of all ages, male especially, they sit down and they deliberate on the issues. And it has nothing to do with age. If you're accountable, you're accountable. So why would, somebody of that stature, coming from that cultural background, come on national TV, in the National Assembly, and start saying, I am older than you? I mean, it beats all, sense of humor, to be quite honest, because it's not supposed to be funny, but it's funny that he will do that.
Well, I'm not defending him. He may also have been his own way of a little bit of comic relief. to diffuse the tension. That might have just been his way of comic relief. Yes,
but
it's trending everywhere. It's trending everywhere. So for it to trend, I mean, it should tell you that it was found
comical,
special, but by a lot of people. Yes,
it was actually found comical by a lot of people, and Senator Akpabio's issue as well was found comical by a lot of people. I've seen T-shirts right now with "off the mic," and
that didn't come from the senator.
Oh no! Of course, that came from the public, because they, like I said earlier on before you were introduced, the things that Nigerians are supposed to take very seriously, unfortunately, they do not. There should be a level of accountability on both sides, both from the leadership and the followership.
100%.
What we have continually seen is a case where the leadership asks the followership for accountability, and the followership don't ask the leadership for accountability.
But you can see what is happening now. People are asking questions. The followership, they're asking questions.
Are they asking the questions?
Yeah, they are asking questions. Yes.
I don't think they're asking the questions, because you see, it's one thing to ask questions, it's another thing to ask the right questions. So take, for instance, you're talking about trillions, 16 trillion. I couldn't sleep because I kept thinking about it. 16 trillion. So even if it was in the Zimbabwean currency or whatever, trillion is a lot of money anywhere in the world. You know what I mean? And you're talking of just
over how many years?
That is irrespective of the issue.
No. I think it's pertinent. I think it's pertinent. I asked the question, over how many years?
No, you see, when you say that, you want to put a timeline to how much was taken over a period of time, that in itself.
No. Nobody's saying. Is anybody saying? I believe we're talking about the NDDC.
Yeah, we're talking about the NDDC.
Okay, nobody is saying 16 trillion was taken from the NDDC. They are saying the NDDC has had 16 trillion naira since inception.
Yeah, but 16 trillion naira of nothing to show.
From 1999.
Yeah, for nothing to show. So
no. I don't know. I refuse to. I refuse to. No.
You have an idea about the going rate.
There are things to show.
Okay,
there are
so
things to show. There are things to show. I'm sure. I'm not from the Niger Delta, but they must have things to show for that amount of money to have been. Yes.
Okay.
Now to say that what is on ground,
yes,
is nowhere near 16 trillion naira. Okay, I will key into that any day. But to say there's absolutely nothing to show for it,
So the primary issue that they have in the Niger Delta is a lack of infrastructure.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of oil spillage, so their ecosystem has been destroyed.
Yes.
They can't farm, they can't fish.
Yeah, but you're aware the president of the Federal Republic commissioned the cleanup exercise a few years ago.
Okay.
Are you aware of that? Are you aware of that?
But how successful was it?
Okay. Just check it.
How successful was it?
Well, it's work in progress.
It's still work in progress after how many years?
It's work in progress.
A lot of people are asking questions of President Buhari.
Mm.
The high level of insecurity, the lack of power. The minister, Tunde Ajibulu, he did well when he was governor of Lagos State. And when the campaigns were going on, he said that any serious person could fix electricity in Nigeria in a matter of months.
I'm sure Governor OmoOba Tunde Ajibulu had never been a minister before.
Okay.
Yes, and when you're a minister, you're not a chief executive. I mean, like, you don't have the kind of powers you have as a governor.
So he didn't know what he was talking about at that point in time.
Yeah, so I want to believe yes that he had not. And he will tell you the same. I'm sure he will tell you the same. What he met on ground was from his thinking at the time.
Yeah.
Yes, he felt he could fix power in 6 months, giving all the support required to fix power. You want to fix power, you have an idea of the money you want to spend. You have the National Assembly cuts it. I mean, there are so many things. You're not you get. Then even what is released to you, you understand. So that's it.
So why do you think that with all the promises that the APC made, coming in the first term, and then they still wrote on more or less those promises for the second term, why do we still have such a shaky government?
What do you mean a shaky government? I don't think this government is shaky. But what do you
don't
mean?
think,
I mean,
you don't think this government is shaky?
Shaky,
Okay,
shaky. No, shaky is not the word.
Okay, so when we say shaky, we're trying to be nice by saying shaky.
Because, don't be nice. Say what you
because so far, because so far, what most Nigerians have exhibited is disappointment across the board when it comes to the APC government. There have been a lot of expectations.
Yes.
Most of those expectations, I won't say all, most of those expectations have not been met. Infrastructural development, security, and always the pertinent issue, electricity. Because without electricity, I mean, how can you thrive? Small businesses, cottage industries, small businesses, they have no source of power. They have to generate power for themselves. Each person or each family is a local government on its own.
Okay, taking the issue of security, let me start with that. The issue of security, we're talking about banditry and insurgency.
Yes.
Okay, now number one, I want it to be clear. I have been on TV before, I've been on channels before, and I have appealed to the president, appealed to all and sundry, joining the calls of the traditional rulers, of the societal leaders, that it's time for a change of service chiefs. I have said that on national television. I have said that on national television. That maybe it's time.
But the president extended.
Maybe it's time for new ideas. Maybe it's time for. I have said that. But then, moving forward, you see, we're fighting a different type of warfare that has basically never been fought in Nigeria before.
Okay.
Are you? Do you understand? And that, and at a point in time, we're having bombings in Abuja. I'm trying to be, objective.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
At some point in time, Nigeria was generally, I'm talking about Boko Haram now, was generally perceived to be unsafe. There was even bombings in Abuja. Do you understand? People could not go to church in the northeast. People could not. I mean, it was manic. What was going on at the time? Yes. Boko Haram controlled. I mean, almost had swaths of states. Will control maybe 10 to 15 local governments in a state, fly their flags, do all those kind of things. Those kind of things aren't happening anymore. Let's be candid with ourselves. Those things are not happening again. Boko Haram does not hold territory in Nigeria again. And you're aware of that. What they do now, they do guerrilla warfare now. That's what they do. It's guerrilla warfare. They don't stay anywhere. They strike, they move, they strike, they move. And then also, our military, a lot of people don't understand, have also been limited by certain things. Okay, now let me take the Air Force, let me take the Army. The Army, you have tanks, Abi. The Air Force, you have planes. Do you understand? You need ammunition, you need parts for the planes.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of diplomacies on different levels. Do you understand? Now, the Air Force may need planes. They may need weapons for their planes. They may need engines for their planes. And then, say, just hypothetically, let's say the United States are the people, they got the planes from the United States. They're going to get the engines, they're going to get the spares, they're going to get the ammunition for those planes from the United States. The United States can say to them, no problem, we'll give it to you, but it won't be ready in 18 months. What happens?
Okay.
Oh, the parts of your tank. Oh, no problem. Oh, we'll do it. You'll get it in 1 year. Because hey, they can come up with it's obsolete, or we have to manufacture it. It will take 1 year. What happens?
So these are all issues. Happens? These are all operational issues.
Yes, they have a lot of operational issues. To be fair to them, our armed forces, they've been valiant. A lot of them have died. I have a military background.
Of course,
I've lost people known to me.
I've lost family.
I've lost people known to me.
I've lost family.
The armed forces, they are valiant, they are brave, they are doing their best to finish this issue of insurgency in Nigeria.
Nigerians are very proud of their armed forces. They know the sacrifices the armed forces, are making towards, this the counter-insurgency, actions and all that. But the challenge that most Nigerians have when it comes to insecurity is the seeming lack of empathy from the government itself. So a lot of people are being kidnapped on the Abuja-Kaduna highway. I'm sure you are very, very aware of that.
Yeah.
There just seems to be no way to curb that menace.
Okay, Habib.
Yes.
What would you rather? Because you use the word empathy from the government.
Yes.
What would you rather? The government comes out in the newspapers or on TV, and the government is crying, and they say, "No, we're so sorry this is happening," or you keep working hard. And
but there must be effective. But there must be effective communication. But there must be effective communication from the government.
Yeah, communication is a bit of a problem. That I must agree.
But communication is totally lacking.
But I'm aware the government is doing a lot of things. And then when I say the government at this point, the armed forces, they're doing a lot of things to curb this menace. Like in the Northwest, I mean, the Air Force have established, the Air Force, don't forget their coral is flying. To counter some of these things, because they have a heavy presence in that area, they have their special forces now. They have their special forces. And they've established outposts in the areas that these things the areas was hit by banditry. And they're doing the very best they can to curb this menace.
Before we go on,
it can be better. It must be better. Yeah, I'm not saying yes, but I will not. But I will not say that the government is not doing anything about this.
Well, we are not saying the government is not. What we are saying is the communication. But before we go on the short commercial break, if the military are performing so well, or if they are performing to the best of their ability,
that's a better word. Yes,
to the best of their ability. Why are you calling for a change of guard of the service chiefs?
For me, I'm talking from a position of having been having a military background.
Yes,
do you understand? I mean, the norm, and then really the norm is service chiefs spend 2 to 3 years. That's the norm.
Yeah,
do you understand? And this injects fresh ideas.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And keeps the services on their toes. I'm of the opinion, and then there's also what you call, the military, there's what you call battle fatigue.
Oh, yes.
Do you understand? Okay. Yes, exactly. So maybe they are fatigued.
We'll
Yes.
go on a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll pick up from where we left off. 1 second. You're doing well today. Hi, folks. If you're just joining us, you're welcome to the show. We're discussing Nigerian politics and the APC and a myriad of other issues with somebody that has been in the game right from the beginning. He's been following up. He's been doing his part, so much so that he has decided to dedicate himself to go to the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies crew in Jos. His name is OmoOba Tunde Ajibulu. Before we went on a short break, we were in a very, very interesting, heated discussion on what is happening in terms of insecurity in the country. OmoOba Ajibulu.
Yes. Yeah.
So now we've been talking about insecurity.
Yes.
Let's now go back to the issue behind the insecurity itself. The same thing that everybody else has been pointing to, which is the issue of the politics in the country. There just seems to be no clear direction. Now, you are going to such a prestigious institute for you to be able to upgrade yourself and upskill in terms of policy, in terms of strategy.
And understand Nigeria more.
And to understand Nigeria more. We know that Nigeria has a myriad of problems, but Nigerians only discuss problems. But we need to truly start discussing solutions. Where do we start from, in your own opinion, as is?
Well, number one, there has to be more effective youth participation in politics.
Well, how do they participate without money? When Nigeria is a case of money politics?
Politics should not, it should not, I mean, no. It should not be, it's not about money. You form pressure groups. There are so many ways to get into politics. I didn't get into politics with money. No, I didn't get into politics with money. I got into politics. In fact, going into politics, and I like to say I'm not a professional politician. I have a business, which is paramount to me. Going into politics, it's like that. It's a disservice to me. It's a sacrifice. My family has suffered. My finances have suffered. You understand? So it's not about you understand. The youth, they have to participate. Look, I'm over 45. So my next milestone age is 50. That's my next milestone age. And you know what? It's like it's like I still fall in politics. I still fall under the category of youth.
Oh, well, I mean, considering the fact that you have had a 64-year-old person being the chairman of the youth wing of a political party in Nigeria, of course.
Power is never given. It is taken. And the youth of Nigeria have to stand up, get involved, and take power. That is how it's done. You're not going to lie down. Nobody's going to mollycoddle you. You have to get stuck in. You have to get involved. You have to make sacrifices.
But you see, you have over 65% of the Nigerian population of over 200 million.
And then sorry, then enough of armchair critics. Enough of armchair critics. You have people of our generation that are doing
Okay, we seem to have lost OmoOba Ajibulu there. I'm sure it's a technical hitch. He'll be back shortly. So, OmoOba Ajibulu is of the opinion that the over 65%, the 65% of Nigerian population, that 65% of the Nigerian population, that 65% of the Nigerian population who happen to be below the age of 35 are not participating enough in politics. I wouldn't say they're not participating at all. They're probably, what he's saying is they're probably not participating enough. Now you can keep sending in your comments so that he can hear you, say your own part as well. Give your comments for him to hear. I personally, I'm of the opinion. Hello, OmoOba. Sorry, we lost you there for a second.
Yeah, part of what you were saying, yes, the network.
Yes. Yeah, infrastructure.
I beg your pardon?
I said yes. Part of what we were saying.
Yeah, part of what you were saying, infrastructure, yes.
Because cottage industries, small scale industries, they can't live up to their obligations simply because you don't have this infrastructure. Now, when you say that they should participate, the youth, that is, the youth of Nigeria, quote unquote, when you're looking at them below the age of 35, they seem to, they actually are 65% of the population.
Yes, we have a terrible case of youth bulge in Nigeria.
Yes, but we know also that
which also feeds a lot of the things going on, which feeds a lot of the ills of the society. And our major focus should be how to turn the youth bulge to an advantage to our country.
How do we turn it to an advantage? Education, self-empowerment.
Two.
How? Tell us.
You have the answer. Okay, I don't
have the answer.
But yeah, you just mentioned some of the answers.
Well, I asked questions.
You just mentioned some of the answers. We've had different. We've had the national the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Do you understand? There's a national youth policy, and then as of today, or was it yesterday, the president just approved a sum of money for youth development. In fact, set up something like is it the Youth Trust Fund or something along those lines? The name escapes me right now. And then also there's been certain things. I mean, you saw what happened. Forget the drama. See the thing behind it, like what happened with the Minister of State for Labor, Festus Keyamo.
Yes.
Yes, about 744,000 jobs.
Well,
across all local governments in Nigeria. These are little things the government is trying to do to engage youth in the country. There's a thrust on farming too. There's a farming program that you get land, you get seedlings, and you get a takeoff grant. I know there's a program like that going on. And then I also have to apologize. I am not up to scratch on a lot of things, as I've been in the academia for the last 5 months.
No, we understand that.
Yes,
but so we'll try to keep it. We'll try to keep it to the general issues rather than current issues in the past 5 months. So, take for instance, you were talking about the agricultural drive by the president, or should I say by this present government?
Yes.
Now, how do you develop a value chain for that agricultural sector without the proper or the right supporting infrastructure?
Those are the things that have to come into play in Nigeria. These are things we've spoken about. These are some of the kind of issues we tackle here. And then we've agreed. Yeah, and then there's a policy. I mean, this is a policy formulating place which formulates policy and gives advice to the president. We've agreed that, and then there was a country that was a case study, and then I think we used cassava. We used cassava.
Yeah.
Nigeria, I think, is the highest grower of cassava in the world. And
more
then
or less.
Nigeria generated a ludicrous amount of money, very ridiculous amount of money. I don't know, less than $2 billion. No, is it billions? I don't know, some paltry amount of money. And then there's a country in the in Southeast Asia. I don't know whether it's Vietnam. I don't know whether they grow nowhere near the cassava that Nigeria grows, but because they have this value chain, they make billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because they've been able to add value, you understand? And then we have said, moving forward, that, there has to be that infrastructure.
Okay, so that infrastructure is affecting OmoOba Ajibulu again. I'm sure he'll come back in a minute. So, in as much as we might, say that the government means well, how do you mean well when you do not have, the proper strategy in place? You have an agricultural drive going on, but you don't have the supporting infrastructure to be able to develop value chains around that drive. There are a lot of things that are missing. Okay, he's back.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so the infrastructure keeps, reminding you, that it is a pertinent issue.
Yeah. It is key. There are going to be recommendations and there are going to be implementation strategies for this to happen.
But you only have 3 years left. The first 4 years have gone, or should I say 5 years?
Yes.
And, Nigerians have seen much, much, much less than they actually wished, or hoped for. And that's why, a lot of them are crying right now and saying, what is going on with this APC government?
It will get better. I'd like to say something that I said at the beginning of this regime. Now, people only applaud what they see.
Naturally.
Yes, people only applaud what they see. Now, I will use an example that I believe everybody must have experienced at a point in time. I believe everybody has moved houses before.
Well, a lot of
yes,
people. Yeah.
Almost everybody. Okay, so what do you do when you move into a house and then you get there? There's a flood, and then there's water coming from all the faucets around the house, the bathroom, the kitchen. There's a flood, and then you try to close the faucets to stop the water, and then you find out all the faucets are bad, so you can't control the flood. The house is flooded, it's eaten into the foundation, it's there. So what do? You go to the mains and shut the water off. Now when you shut the water off, the water just doesn't disappear like that. It takes some time.
Yes, and even at that, there's damage, infrastructural damage.
Now, thank you. Okay, so now what is the strongest part of a house?
The foundation.
Who sees the foundation?
Nobody, yeah, true.
We just see the house.
Yes.
What's the most beautiful house without a foundation?
It's gonna get washed away. It'll crack, collapse.
Look, I am not saying that. Look, the APC. Look, a lot of things have happened. You understand? What the government is doing the best that it can. And a lot of work the government is doing, nobody sees because it is fundamental.
Fundamental.
Fundamental. It's structural, it's deep in the ground. It's foundational. Most of the things that this government is doing. I mean, we all know Mr. President. We know his pattern. We know the kind of person he is. He's not one for show. He's not one for flash. He's not one for talk.
But don't you think that that's a deficiency in itself in terms of his style of governance? Because when you rule a country like Nigeria that has such a diverse, set of people, there has to be different or
effective communication.
Three or four.
There has to be effective
communication. I know that's what put into place. Yes,
and I'm with you 110%. Communication is one of the problems. Effective communication is one of the problems of the government. There's no doubt about it.
So nobody can even tell.
And people, and trust me, people within the party, people have made this very clear. Opposition has made it very clear that effective communication
it's a problem.
It's a problem. Yes.
Now we are being inundated with comments. They're coming in like blah 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 blah. They're falling in. Yes. And Richard, if you can hear us, please don't send us, links. If you send us links, we can't open the links. You can just send the comments and we'll be able to read them. So Richard Okojevo says the virtual collapse of the anti-corruption mantra of the Buhari government represents a significant erosion of credibility, authority, and legitimacy. That's scathing.
The virtual collapse. The virtual collapse. I mean, the virtual collapse of the anti-corruption mantra of the Buhari government represents a collapse of the. No, it hasn't. Where's the collapse, Richard?
Oh well,
where's the collapse?
When you talk of when people
the head of the #1 anti-corruption body was arrested based on allegations of corruption.
Doesn't that seem ironical?
No. It's, I mean, there's nobody is that we agreed on this before. Nobody is infallible. Nobody's infallible, but I'm saying based on allegations. If it
had not been found guilty yet, okay,
he has not been found guilty, but he was invited to clear himself. That shows things are. I mean, if it had collapsed, then hey, enjoy yourself, party on. Nobody cares.
So for Senator Akpabio as well, it's a case of allegations.
For now, that's what we see. The Senate is saying this happened, that happened, and you have the lady, the former MD, saying this happened, that happened.
MD. The
former MD. I mean, the former MD was saying this happened. That's Miss Joy Nune.
She's still there.
No. She's the former MD. She's the ex-MD. She was removed.
She was removed. Okay.
Yes. No, the MD is some professor. I can't remember his name right now.
Okay.
Yes. So the former MD, I mean, started all this. I mean, came up with all these allegations. And then for me personally, I speak for myself. I mean, I'm speaking for myself here. And then for me, I mean, it's glaring. There's something personal between her and the honorable minister. There's something very, very personal. I mean, they say when a handshake goes beyond the elbow, it's turned to something else. Everybody knows whatever is going on between two of them is very, very personal. Maybe she didn't like the fact that she fired him. She alleged she slapped him. Maybe he didn't like that she slapped him. Whatever it is, but it's personal. And that's what is bringing up all this. So they're basically allegations.
So are you saying there's no corruption?
Of course, where's there no corruption?
But the levels of corruption.
Show me where there's no corruption in the world.
Okay,
including the crimes that you live in.
But something funny. One of an APC chieftain recently on this same show said that he was surprised that what he was seeing was more or less a case of what the APC was in opposition against to the PDP is what the APC is now doing, and in some cases even worse, and that was the issue of corruption.
No. I refuse to believe. I totally refuse to believe that there's more corruption. That there's more corruption in this regime than the last regime. I'm totally 100%. No.
Well,
there was no corruption in the last PDP administration that we have.
Why do you say so?
Come on, Nigerians, we have very, very short memories. And we have, and when things go wrong, we have selective amnesia.
Yeah.
Have we forgotten what was going on in the last administration? I don't know. Have we forgotten what happened in the last administration? Why did people rise up and say enough is enough? We've forgotten all about that. We've forgotten about the subsidy. We've forgotten about. I mean.
But people are still complaining about the same things, more or less.
What same things are they complaining about?
The same issues, the same corruption, the same lack of infrastructure, the same lack of jobs, the same, the same issues.
If I was prepared, I've watched the Minister of Works and Housing, Governor Fashola. I've seen him on a TV show, and I saw him reel out very, very impressive credentials on achievements on road infrastructure in Nigeria. With pictures, with commissionings, with and then, like I said earlier,
yes.
like I said earlier, also Governor Raji Fashola too. I mean, from what is not a man too of flash.
Oh yes,
he's just doing the job, and he's not making any noise about it. Maybe he should make more noise about it, so Nigerians, Nigerians can see what he's doing.
But it's not about noise. Sometimes it is just effective communication. But then there are one or two things that you could always...
Which we have agreed. Which we have agreed.
Yes, it's a deficiency. It's a major deficiency.
And it's also the lack of effective communication. Thank you. That makes people feel that there's almost as much corruption in this regime than the last. It's also lack of effective communication.
Okay, so... But you see, when you talk of the achievements when it comes to works and housing and Babatunde Raji Fashola, that brings another question. You said earlier on that he did not have he had executive powers when he was governor. Being a minister doesn't have executive power, so he probably didn't know the difference. Now, with what we knew of him as a super governor,
he can only beg for money.
Yes. So of what we knew of him as a super governor,
and take whatever he's given.
And take what he's given.
And make the most of whatever he's given.
Now, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has been under construction since 1999. Sorry, reconstruction since 1999.
Yeah.
And it is still not finished.
That's 16 years of PDP government.
But you've had 5 years.
Okay, so let's watch. Let's watch. Maybe let's watch and see whether it will be finished or not before the end of this regime.
Okay, so just what I was saying.
PDP had 16 years to finish it.
This is what another viewer says. He says, which of the roads, sir? He said, because the road from Abuja to Lagos is not just bad, but very bad. The same thing when going to the east from Abuja as well.
Well, like I said, I saw a list. I saw a list of his achievements.
Yes.
On TV. I don't know, maybe earlier on this year. And then like now, I'm so maybe I have to come back on your show, and then I'll be armed with facts and figures because I'll have done research.
You know what? You would always be welcome on this show because, like we said earlier on, we only like to talk to people who can come up with solutions, not people talking about the problems, but people that actually come up with solutions to the problem. Now, so far, you have been more or less the most ardent supporter of this government that has come on this show so far, even from within your political party. Nobody has defended your government as much as you have so far. Now, I'll ask you one question, just one, before we go.
Okay.
Are you confident that the APC is going to win the next election?
That's a tough one. Tough in the sense that number one, 2023 is in politics that is too far away. That is too far away.
No, just based on your performance so far.
If we get certain things right before 2023, APC will win the next elections. When I say get certain things right, get the internal democracy right, get the internal party wranglings right, get reconcile and bring back disgruntled elements together, and most importantly, focus on delivering the dividends of democracy to the Nigerian people, to the best of the capability of the government. If all that can be harmonized, yes, APC will win the election come 2023.
Okay,
That is my honest. That is my honest take.
OmoOba Tunde Ajibulu, we always ask that question so that our viewers know that we're asking this question on their behalf, and so that you politicians know that Nigerians are looking at you. And that is a question they will consistently be asking. Can I put my trust in this set of people going forward? That is why we always ask, are you sure you're going to be able to win the next election? So on behalf of everybody from radio.com, we want to say a big thank you to you, OmoOba Tunde Ajibulu, and we definitely are going to bring you back on the show as soon as humanly possible, considering your very busy schedule and the course that you're doing. And we wish you the best of luck in that. And we hope that you will bring that to bear in terms of, giving 100%. advice to the government, or when you yourself get into that position to change the narrative. We hope you'll be able to do something, and
that's what I'm here. 100%, yes.
Make the people of Kogi West and Kogi State proud, and Nigeria as a whole. So you have a great night. I will see you again on the show very soon. Damn. So, heated session with OmoOba Tunde Ajibulu. We have tons and tons of, comments that have come in over, the things that he was saying. His strong defense of his, of the APC government, being a staunch APC, supporter, card-carrying member, a member of the presidential campaign council. So he's large enough within the party, to be able to speak, if not on behalf of the party, at least for the party. Now, like we were saying earlier on before we brought on OmoOba Ajibulu, a lot has been going on, in Nigeria when it comes to the political, arena. We're talking of the NDDC probe, the reps ready to sue, Senator Akpabio over his allegations, his sweeping allegations of everybody or most of the contracts given out in the NDDC was given to the National Assembly, things like that. All these issues, if we look at ourselves and we start to ask questions, we realize that most people are probably not going to be focused on it simply because Big Brother Nigeria has started. Isn't that amazing? So over 65% of the population, we said it again like maybe 3-4 times, on this show tonight, fall under the age of 35. And rather than talking about what really affects them in terms of their future, a lot of them are much more focused on entertainment. Entertainment is a very, very important part of our culture, important part of our lives. I am a strong supporter of, entertainment, no doubt. But at the same time, it should not be something that would distract from the true issues. And the true issues are what we have just been asking OmoOba Ajibulu right now, which is the issue of a lack of infrastructure, lack of accountability, and the lack of security in the country. We hope that, they are all listening, and at some point they will, be accountable to the people, because as is now, it's the followers that are being accountable to the leaders. The leaders are not being accountable to the followers. And until there's a balance being struck there, nothing truly sustainable is going to happen. Now we will close down for the night. It's been an early night for us, unusual, but because that session was quite heated and it was, it could go on and on and on and on forever. So we had to try and take a little bit of control. And our producers are like, this time around, you have to make sure that you try to stick within the time frame. So we're trying to do just that. But we will not leave without mentioning our cause that we always talk about, that we are always fighting about, which is saying no to rape. There's no excuse for you to want to violate anybody. There's no excuse for anybody to be violated. The most vulnerable people to violation are children. So let's all be cautious. Let's all be aware. Let us all look at ourselves and say, you know what? We have to try to stop this scourge, simply because you can't have a healthy nation or a healthy society without healthy women and healthy children. It's been an interesting evening, and we're going to bring OmoOba Ajibulu back on the show because he has said that he we'll be glad to come back. And we always like people like him to come back on the show so that he can continuously sensitize us and tell us the things that the communications team of the government is not telling us, because they're not saying much. We actually don't know what they're doing. We actually don't know the achievements that they have so far. So much, much better has to be done in terms of their communications. So you guys have a great night. Have a great weekend ahead, and see you on Sunday as usual. And I'm sure you're going to have a blast on Sunday as well, when you know who our guest is going to be on Sunday. Same time, 8 p.m. Don't miss it. Have a great and fantastic evening. Good night.